Hi, everyone. This is Avery Peel, host of the Hope Matrix on Campus podcast. We are here to share the science, strategies, and stories for how to hope. I am the Community Hope Specialist at the Shine Hope Company, and Shine is the mnemonic for how we teach hope. So when we talk about hope, we talk about the stress skills, happiness habits, inspired actions, nourishing networks, and eliminating challenges, which are the thinking patterns that get in the way of our ability to hope. Hope is a skill. You can measure hope, you can teach hope, and you can start practicing skills to activate higher hope in your life today. And on this Hope Matrix on Campus podcast, we aim to bring in guests, experts in science, people with stories, and those that have strategies for activating hope in your life. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Hope Matrix on Campus. My name is Avery Peel, and I'll be your host today. And with me, I have Miss Sophie. Thank you so much for being here, Sophie.
Of course, I'm so excited to do this with you, Avery.
This is going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on and being willing to talk to me and kind of share your life with the world.
I'm
So
excited.
whoever wants to listen. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Where do you go to school?
Yeah, so I am a current junior at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I study clinical psychology. Um, I'm home for me is the Chicago area, but I will be down here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's great. I have personally never been to Chicago, but I've heard great
Really
things.
interesting.
Great things. Um, so I just want to get into a little bit of like the nitty-gritty. I know I've already heard some of your story just from Catherine, and I want you to be able to talk about it and tell what you want everybody to know.
Okay.
And just relate it to college as much as you can, and like how did this affect your college experience too?
Okay.
I'll let you get into that and talk about anything that you want to, and then we'll get into how you recovered and how you started helping yourself.
Okay. Yeah, so the my issues started probably my issues. My My, I guess I'll say hopelessness started my junior of high school. So this was about 4 years ago. Um, I started having dissociative symptoms, which was something that I've never heard of. I've never experienced in my life. And I was so scared. I thought it was going to last forever. Or I didn't know what to do. I thought that nothing would help me. So I was kind of stuck in that rut for like a good 6 months to a year. Um, before I really committed to like progressing myself and living my life while still having the symptoms, like, and not letting it just stop my life completely. So I still have the symptoms now. Um, I think that coming to college was probably one of the best things for it because it was such a big distraction. Like, there's so many things going on all the time. There's so much that I can do besides just sit and think about how this might last forever and I'm never going to get over it and there's nothing I can do. Um, having like living with some of my friends has been super helpful. There's always somebody to talk to. I've kind of, when this first started, I just wanted to be alone. Like I just wanted to like limit stimulation, I guess, to try and make my symptoms better. And as I've dealt with them, being around people has helped me a lot more now. And being able to like share the experience, but also just like having fun with my friends is a good way to move forward and not
Yeah.
think about the symptoms. So that's where I'm at today, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I'm glad that you are where you are today. So let's talk about how you got here and how
Okay.
this experience has taught you things and how you've learned things that help you deal with your experience. So let's start with your stress skills. Let's start
Okay.
with everything that you did to stop that stress response. And
Mhm.
I mean, these can be things like anything. I know that you kind of already know, but just for the explanation for the listeners, stress skills can be anything like journaling or going on a walk or, I mean, sitting alone reading a book, like anything that helps you come down back to your baseline, that's a stress skill. So, Sophie, what stress skills did you use? What helped you work through that anger and fear and sadness?
I think that, I mean, I kind of mentioned it when what I was just saying is just thinking about anything else that's not the issue. And like if you Google like how to help dissociative symptoms, the main, I guess, treatment is distraction. Because like just sitting, I guess, just ruminating about it, it kind of continues the anxiety cycle and it will just keep going if all you think about and all that you worry about is the symptoms. It makes the symptoms worse and it just keeps going. It's a terrible cycle. So some of the things that I would do to distract myself, I mean, it sounds kind of simple, but like watching movies, I got really into books, which I still in that period.
Yeah.
Um, Hanging out with my friends now. I didn't mind to do that back in the day, but that's something that's super, super helpful for me. Just like being able to laugh with my friends and watching movies with them and playing games. We play a lot of games here. We play like we I learned how to play poker my freshman year of high school, and that's like we just play that all the time now. I don't have anything that like a specific like I didn't meditate. I didn't do any of the things that I'm supposed to do because I was stubborn and I thought that it wasn't gonna work. I wanted to do it my way, which I guess is fine too, because it's gotten me a lot. It's progressed me a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would just say like even like watching TikToks, which sounds really stupid, but like it's such a short burst of like attention and it like it'll keep you entrapped, which is probably a
Yeah,
bad thing in the long run. But but in my
definitely.
situation, it really helped.
Yeah, well, I mean, you should do the things that work for you. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody can tell you, like, oh, try this, do this. This is, but everything is different for everybody. Everybody has
yeah,
their own personal journey, and different things work for different people. Like, some
right.
people hate reading, and I'm like you, I love reading. I'm always going to be in my reading era. Like, I love it. But I mean, some people don't like it, so that would just
Yeah.
not help them, you know? And I mean, do what works best for you. And I'm glad that you found those things, whether it's playing poker or, or reading a book. I'm
Exactly,
kind
yeah.
of impressed. Poker's hard to learn.
We love it here at this apartment. In Champaign, Urbana, we love it.
That is awesome. I love that so much. Well, speaking of, let's talk about our happiness habits. And happiness habits are things that basically just feed your happiness, and these just help you stay in your upstairs brain. And so let's talk about like anything that you have done, which this could also be playing poker, like something that you have done that you have found that makes you happy, like whether you're like really down or, I mean, if you're feeling really depressed, like what can you do that you know that's going to bring you out of that? And do you have any like non-negotiables? Like, is there something you do every day or every week
Hmm,
that just like keeps you in that happy state?
That's a good question. Um, I would say in general, the happiness habit that I have found the most rewarding, I guess, from this experience is being able to channel the mental health issues that I've had and make a future career out of it. That's kind of my goal is to work in crisis mental health situations. I'm doing clinical psychology. I want to be a clinical psychologist someday. We'll see how that goes, but that's the plan. Um,
You'll
so
get there.
that's it was yeah, hopefully. It was that was a big turning point for me was realizing that even though this sucks and I want nothing more than to get rid of the symptoms that I'm having, it doesn't have to all be bad. And I've kind of geared it towards something that's interesting to me, which is psychology and being able to hopefully help people in the future, and also like helping myself, I guess, too, being able to learn about dissociative disorders, and I mean all mental health disorders in general, um, is something that I'm very passionate about. I diagnose all my friends all the time. They hate it. I love it. Just kidding.
Are you gonna
Um,
diagnose me after this?
no, probably not. You seem pretty intact.
I'm good. I'm glad.
Um, so so yeah, I think that in terms of your non-negotiables question, I don't really know. I don't exercise. It's not something that's ever been
That's
interesting to
okay.
me. And my mom is like a nutrition professor. So my whole family is like very active and healthy, and I'm none of that. So that's great. Really, that's helpful. But but yeah.
That's okay. You don't that those don't have to be your happiness habits. I mean,
Yeah.
they could be, but they don't have to be.
Yeah. So I'll just do me.
Yeah, you do you, girl. If exercising does not make you happy, then I mean, I'm not gonna tell you not to do it.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like I'm giving bad advice right now. Okay, so I kind of think that everything that you just talked about leads into your inspired actions. I feel like this, like the your path on clinical psychology and going to be a clinical psychologist is
Yep.
an inspired action. And so, but have you set any goals for yourself to get there? Like micro goals, big goals, anything in between?
Yes. Well, when I was in high school, the first the first thing that I when once I decided that I was going to actually try and help myself and not just feel bad for myself, essentially, um, was making really small goals, because I wrote in my hope story that even like literally even like something as simple as brushing my teeth in the morning felt like running a marathon. Like it felt like completely impossible. So for a long time, like though that was what I did was, okay, today I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to shower, I'm going to eat, I'm gonna get dressed, I'm not gonna wear pajamas all day. And this was also during COVID. So like all of this, I could do all of this if I wanted to. Like I
Oh
could just sit
yeah.
all day and do nothing. That's what I wanted to do. I could. And I did for a while. But so so yes, so that was the beginning. Now I don't have to have goals like that. Brushing my teeth does not come as hard anymore, thank goodness. Um, so I guess just like my goals right now are just like career future goals. And also, I mean, I'm in college, I guess. So like doing well in my classes, blah, blah, blah. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like just being in college, doing well in your classes could be like a micro goal. And
yeah,
then getting into clinical psychology school could
right.
be
That's a big goal. Yeah.
a big goal. Yeah. Like you could just
Okay.
set a little mini goal, like I'm gonna pass this class and then maybe raise my GPA after that. Maybe not. We'll see. Like,
Either way.
yeah, either way, it's fine as long as I pass. It's okay. No, I think those are great goals, and it's really good to start small. Like, don't, I feel like it's so good. I mean, it's good for me to hear you talking about your process now. Like, even you just said, like, I don't have to set mini goals like that anymore because I don't need to. Like, that
Right.
is progress, and
Okay.
that is something to be so, so proud of.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Avery.
That is just, it's really impressive to hear. And it's impressive to hear that you did it on your own and like you just decided one day that you were going to wake up and help yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, I had a therapist during this time, a psychiatrist. I had all of these people telling me what to do. I was like, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't get it. I was such an idiot back then. Um, but I really thought that I thought I was like, nobody understands me. Nobody has ever felt the way that I'm feeling right now. So like nothing that they could say would ever help. Eventually, doing it my way didn't help. So I had to give in a little
Yeah.
bit. But it worked
Well,
out.
it
And
takes time to
yeah,
realize, like, oh yeah, they are telling me the
they
truth.
do know
Like
what they're talking about. Yeah.
they are trying to help me. It does take time to figure that out. And so I don't
Yeah.
blame you. I mean, I think that everybody goes through periods of just like not listening to people who are trying to help them.
Yeah.
In your case, it was a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you, I mean, finally made that decision for yourself
Yeah.
and like, started taking their advice.
Mhm.
And that's something to be really proud of.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let's talk about who your nourishing networks are. You kind of touched on this about having a therapist, and they could or could not be part of your nourishing network, but like nourishing networks can be anybody that helped you, like anybody that you can turn to and talk to, or anybody that just was there for you. A nourishing
Yeah.
network could be a friend, a parent, a therapist, a doctor, a dog, anybody.
Yeah. So, um, back when this first started, I didn't tell anybody besides my boyfriend at the time and my mom. And like I guess my dad probably knew too, but I didn't talk to him about it. Um, I was very embarrassed. I thought that like nobody would understand. So that was literally so them and then like my therapist, my psychiatrist were the only ones that I would tell. Once I came to college, my freshman year, a lot of my friends, I've had the same like kind of friend group in college since literally the second day of college. So we've been through some, ups and downs, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I first came, the transition was really hard for me. And I remember like just talking about it a little bit one day and like everybody else was like, yeah, me too. Like I have this, I have this, I feel so homesick, like I'm so anxious, I need to talk to my therapist, like blah blah blah. And I was like, wow, hmm, I'm not like that crazy. Um, I mean, I knew I wasn't like crazy, crazy, but like I really felt comfortable and I told all of my friends everything that I'd been dealing with, which was very different. Like even my
Yeah.
friends at home, like from high school, I don't really talk to them about it. Um, I mean, I would now, but like my college friends definitely helped during that experience because and I have one friend, Clive, and he's always checking in. Like anytime I see him, he's like, how's the depersonalization going? How's the dissociation? Even though it's been 2.5 years, he still checks in. And it's very nice to have somebody like that. Um, so yeah, but I also think that a lot of it was trying to forgive myself and have grace with myself. Um, I was so mad at my body and so mad at my brain for doing this to me. Um, and I kind of had to change my thinking and understand that the dissociative symptoms, like my brain is trying to protect me. It's a stress, it's a coping mechanism. And like I have to give myself grace. Um, so yeah, I had a bunch of different nourishing networks,
Yeah.
and I still do.
Well, it's great to hear that people are still checking up on you to this day, even though you are better, you're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
Even though you know how to
Yes.
deal with it now, it's still a struggle. And so it's good
Yeah.
to hear that you still have those people checking in on you.
Yes. Yes.
And
It's
it
very
makes me
helpful.
so happy to hear that you met your college friends on like the second day of school because I did the exact same thing and I
Yeah.
am graduated and still they're my best friends.
Yep. That's exactly how it was over here too. Very interesting.
Don't you love how life works out like
I do.
that?
I feel like it
And
doesn't always work
your
out like
life for
that,
the
so I feel lucky.
better. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about eliminating challenges.
Mhm.
which I think that we've kind of touched on this throughout the podcast. And this might be a little bit of just reiterating things that we've already said. But you mentioned earlier that rumination and worry were two really big things that kind of made it worse. And so let's talk about how you kind of changed that. You changed your mindset into thinking more positively or to stop yourself from ruminating. Like you said, distraction was kind of a thing that you used to stop from rumination. But did you ever have a way of like turning your negative thoughts into positive thoughts?
Hmm.
So, like, for example, you just said a couple minutes ago that you were mad at your body and
Yes.
so how do you turn that? How do you change that into thinking like, I shouldn't be mad at my body. My body is good. My body is helping me.
Right. Um, I'm trying to think if there was like a moment where I was like, where like my mindset flipped. I really don't know. I think that probably the reason why was because nothing else that I was doing was working. Nothing would get rid of the symptoms. So, I mean, kind of, this sounds really like dooming, but like understanding now that like this could last forever, like this, it could. And like I'm totally fine with that because there's so much more good that happens in my life than bad. Um, so it kind of does sound like, I mean, I used to call it, I'd say like this is a life sentence. Like I'm done for life. I'm never gonna be normal ever again. Um, so having to flip that, that was the hardest part, I think, was like changing my mindset. And I feel like it sounds kind of corny, like, oh, just change the way you think. Um, but I mean that's exactly what happened. I don't exactly remember a moment. Um, but I knew I had to try something else and kind of telling myself that even if this lasts forever, I can still be successful. I go to college, like I have good friends, I do well in school. Like there's just so much more to my life than just this issue. Um, and I'm very like used to the feeling now of like dissociating and stuff. Like it was so scary at one time, and now it's kind of like I don't even really notice it anymore. Which again, that also sounds kind of bad, but like in a good way. So yeah.
No, I don't think that's bad at all. And I appreciate you saying that there wasn't just like one moment. You can't remember there just one moment, but it was just like you've exhausted all options. Because I
Exactly.
feel like a lot of people are like, I mean, they don't think that that's okay. They don't think that like you can try a bunch of different things. And I appreciate that you are saying like I did. I tried my own way. I
Yeah.
tried a lot of things before I finally was just like, I have to change something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like kind of the way like life works. Like you try things and find things that you like, find things that work for you and like,
Yeah. Process of elimination.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And it might have taken you a little bit longer to get there, but that's okay.
Yeah. We're here now.
Yeah. You're exactly where you need to be.
Exactly.
So if you were to pick three things that you would want somebody listening to take away from this podcast, what would you want them to take away?
Um, I think that one thing that I am very passionate about and I tell everybody is that, and I guess this connects to nourishing networks, is that you cannot expect people to help you if you don't give them the opportunity. Like if people don't know what's happening, how are they supposed to try and help? Um, so that's one thing is that you have to let people help you. Um, two. Um, I should have thought of this before. I like had that one on lock, and now I have to like um um I will say that, and we've kind of been talking about this the entire time, but just to reiterate, just because I kind of used to be very afraid of the idea that once you're diagnosed with a mental illness, like that doesn't go away. That you know, I was like, this is a life sentence, like what I said. But I think that just because something is going to be a lifelong struggle doesn't mean that it's going to always be the top of your, what am I trying to say? It doesn't mean that it's always going to be prevalent and it's always going to be a big stressor, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, life sentence makes it seem very like,
dooming,
yeah. But
but
it
it's fine. And it's
doesn't
not.
have to be dooming.
It doesn't have to be. You know, I mean, people have struggles all the time. Like even like failing a test. Like that can be somebody's biggest stressor. And
Yeah,
that feels like the end of the world. And then like for somebody else, it's something different. Like everybody has stressors, and I think it kind of helps me a lot to think about it like, even though this feels so big for me, everybody else has something that feels so big too, you know? So that
absolutely.
helps. Three, hmm,
And if you can't think of a third, you don't have to have a third.
I want a third. I just need to think of it. I want to have one.
Okay.
Um, um, I think I would say that it's important to, if something is clinically distressing enough, I think that it's important to get professional help. That's something that I would say. Therapist, psychiatrist, medication, whatever it is, it can't hurt. And I think that it's important to normalize all of that. And
Definitely.
I think that's becoming a lot more normalized as we progress in society. Um, but I think it's important for people to know that like you don't have to just do it on your own. And like you're nothing that you've ever experienced is something that you've only experienced. Like we are all, I guess like in terms of the depersonalization, like 70% of people have experienced it before they're like adults, which is crazy to think about because I'm like, I'd never heard of it. Um, but like in the best way, like nothing that you've ever experienced is like original. Like you've never had, you know, like how like people will say like you've never had an original experience. Like we read the same books when we were a kid. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's very like, and like in a good way. Like
Somebody else can
nothing that
experience
you're
this
never
with
alone.
you.
Somebody else has experienced exactly what you are at some point. So I guess getting professional help when needed is always worth it.
Definitely. And I really appreciate you saying that because I feel like there is such a stigmatism around therapy that, especially like among the older generation, like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad to go to therapy, but it's
right.
not. It is so normal. I think everybody should go to therapy.
Yeah,
And we are not doctors for all of you listening.
no,
We have
I don't know
personal
anything.
experience. Don't take advice from us.
There are people who are better equipped.
Definitely go to a therapist if you need to.
Yeah,
Doctors and counselors are here for you.
absolutely. You'll never regret it.
No,
No.
never. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Sophie. I'm so excited to share your story. And thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you about it and for sharing it with me and for sharing it with all of our listeners. I know that this is going to help somebody out there.
Of course, I'm more than happy. I had a lot of fun.
I did too. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for listening to the Hope Matrix on campus. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to the Hope Matrix on Campus podcast. I hope to have provided you with actionable insights and a framework that you can use to start activating higher hope in your life today. And don't forget that hope is measurable and teachable. This program is designed to assist you in learning about hope, but it should not be used for medical advice, counseling, or other health-related services. I, Fred, the Shine Hope Company, and myself, Avery Peel, do not endorse or provide any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I am not a medical doctor. The information provided here should not be used for the diagnosis or treatment of any medical condition and cannot be substituted for the advice of physicians, licensed professionals, or therapists who are familiar with your specific situation. Consult a licensed medical professional or call 911 if you're in need of immediate assistance, and be sure to know the crisis hotline 988 if you are in need of support. We are better with hope. Please feel free to check out theshinehopecompany.com, where we list all of our resources around how to hope. We have a lot of free programs for how to hope, including the 5-day challenge, our hope infographic with a lot of skills that showcase how to hope, and articles of how to incorporate hope in your life. We have the Hope Beat Weekly, which is a weekly newsletter that shares strategies for hope. We have my Shine Hope Story template, so you can write your own Shine Hope story today. Also, my Shine Hope Hero, so we can share what our heroes are doing to activate hope in our lives. And this is especially good with youth, so they can start looking up to people that have overcome similar challenges to them and seeing how these heroes use the Shine Hope framework. We have a Hopeful Minds for Teens program and Hopeful Minds Overview Educator Guides. We have a new evidence-based college course so you can activate hope on the college campus. There are programs in the workspace, overview courses, 90-minute courses for learning the what, why, and how to hope. What I want you to know about hope is it's a skill you've got to practice to become more hopeful. It's easy to fall into despair and helplessness when we deal with challenges in life, and it takes intentional work and practice to get to hope. And yet it is always possible. So no matter what life brings, keep shining hope. Thanks so much for listening and have an awesome day.